Morning. Thanks very much for allowing us to delay by 30 minutes. It's now 10:30. We request all of us to rise for a national anthem. We are greeting you on behalf of the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs. I'm here with Honorable Ruos, Honorable Veteran Lokota, and Honorable Molekwa.
Reali dumedisa gompieno ke nna modulasetulo wa committee e ya Home Affairs maloko a committee ke bao ba fetsang go ba itsisi.
We are also joined by members, staff of Parliament who are with us to record the notes or your submissions.
Re na le gape badiri ba parliament ba ileng gore ba tlo go re thusa go recorda kopano ya rena le go tseya di notes.
We also thank you for responding to the invitation to attend the public hearings.
Re a leboga gape ga ile la dumela memo ya rena gore le tle mo kopanong e ya setšhaba.
As you know that the Constitutional Court
Ya ka le itse gore lekgotla la molaotheo
has declared Electoral Act 73 of 1998 unconstitutional.
ile ya re molao o wa Electoral Act wa 1998 gore wana ga o tsamaisane le molaotheo,
That it does not allow independent or individual to participate in both the national and provincial elections.
gore ga e dumelle bontlhopheng ba ikemetseng gore ba nke karolo mo ditlhopheng tsa province le tsa naga.
It has directed Parliament to correct that anomaly.
Ba laetse parlamente gore ba lukise ntlha eo.
The Minister of Home Affairs then appointed the task team led by former Minister Valemusa.
Minister wa Home Affairs wile a kopa a ira setlhopha task team se etela pele ke onele minister wa pele e leng Valemusa.
The intention is to solicit or consult on the modalities so that we respond to the Constitutional Court judgment.
E le gore maikailelo ene le gore re kgone gore re bontshane le setšhaba ka mekgwa e re ka dirisanang ka yona gore re kgone gore re tsamaisane le tshwetso eo ya kgotla la molaotheo.
They have then submitted a report to the minister on two policy options.
Ba ile ba isa report mo go ministera go na le dintlha tse mekgwa e mebedi e ileng gore ba itlhagisa.
The first option was to maintain the status quo and introduce the participation of independent candidates.
Ya ntlha ene e le gore re tlogele dilo ka mokgwa di leng ka gona e fela go simololwe gore go itsisiwe bontlhopheng ba ba ikemetseng.
The other option was to introduce the constituency electoral system.
Se seng gape ene e le gore go be le mokgwa wa ditlhopho o lebileng batho mo ba dulang mo teng.
Cabinet or the executive then tabled the amendment bill to parliament.
Kabinete ile e a isa molao o fetotsweng ko kabineteng.
With the recommendations outlined in the electoral amendment bill.
Go na le tsona ditshitshinyo tse di leng teng mo molao o mo billing e leng teng eo.
On the decision of the task team and the cabinet amendment bill recommendations,
Go ya ka ditshwetso tse tserweng le go ya ka ditlhagiso tse leng teng mo ripotong eo.
the portfolio committee or parliament does not have a decision.
Komiti e tlhomilweng e kapa parlamente e ke seng ke tshwetso mabapi le ntlha eo.
So we've issued invitation to the public for written submission.
Ke ka go re ntshitse memo ya gore setšhaba se dire ditshwaelo ka go ngola.
We've also conducted oral submission on the 2nd and 3rd of February.
Gape go ile gwa nna le dikopano mo batho ba fiwang tšhono ya gore ba ire ditshwaelo tsa bona ka molomo ka di 2 le di 3 tsa February.
We are giving this account so that you understand why we are here.
Re tlhalose dintlha tse gore le utlwisisa sentle gore go baneng re le fa.
It is important that this is an opportunity for you to talk or make submissions on how independent candidates or individuals can participate in the provincial and national elections.
Go botlhokwa gore le kgone gore le dire ditshwaelo gore bontlhopheng bao ba ikemetseng gore bona ba ka nka karolo yang mo ditlhopheng tsa province le ditlhopha tsa naga.
There are many views since we have started the public hearing that have been submitted to the portfolio committee.
Go na le megopolo e mentsi e leng gore setse re kreile re le committee a sa le re simolla ka dikopano tse tsa setšhaba.
On those submissions, the committee has not yet commented or discussed. We are going to deliberate once all the public hearings have been concluded throughout the country.
Rona re le committee ga senke re tshwaele kgotsa go buisana ka tsona, re tlo go buisana ka tsona ga setse re feditse ka dikopano tse tsa setšhaba tse ntse re tsamaya re di dira.
So this is your meeting
Kopano e ke ya lena
to talk to the members of the portfolio committee who have introduced.
gore le buisane le maloko a committee ka mokgwa ke wa itsisitseng ka teng.
We normally start our meeting at 10 o'clock until 12:30 to 1 o'clock.
Gantsi re simolla meeting ya dikopano tsa rona ka ura ya 10 go fitlha ka 12:30 go ya ko ureng ya pele.
You have noted that we have requested to delay by 30 minutes.
Ke a tshepa la gopola gore re kopile gore re salle moragonyana ka metsotso e 30.
We are going to be allocated 5 minutes to make submission.
Re tlo go fa motho ka mong 5 minutes gore a kgone gore a dire ditshwaelo tsa gagwe.
You can use any language.
O kana wa dirisa puo engwe le engwe.
What we are going to appeal to you
Se re tlo go se kgopela mo go lona
is to respect the speaker when she or he is on the floor.
ke gore re tlhomphe motho o buang ga a setse a fiwe tšhono ya go bua.
And when your 5 minutes has lapsed and when we request you to stop, you must appreciate that request.
Ga nako ya gago metsotso e 5 e re buileng ka yona e setse e fedile, ga re go kopa gore o eme, re kopa gore o amogele seo.
We know that there was a public a unit from Parliament to educate or share notes on the amendment bill before we came here.
Ra itse gore go na le public unit e shebileng ditaba tsa setšhaba e leng gore re ile ra e romela e berekang ka go ruta setšhaba ka melao le tsamaiso tsa parlamente gore batle ba tlo go le ruta ba le bontshe pele rona re tla fa.
We are now going to request you to raise hands. There are seats here in the middle.
Re tlo go kopa gore le emise matsogo go na le ditulo tse re di beileng mo gare mo.
So you raise your hand, we identify you, we recognize you, then you sit, then you comment, then you go to another set of hands until we you exhaust your submissions.
Re tlo go dira ka mokgwa kiwo o emisa letsogo la gago ga o batla go dira tshwaelo ga o emisitse letsogo modulasetulo o tla go supa ga fetsa go supa o tla mo ditulong tsa re di beile mo gare o tlo go dula mo teng o tlo go kry-a tšhono ya gago ya gore o ire tshwaelo ya gago ga o fetsa go dira tshwaelo ya gago o tlo go tloga mo setulong seo o boele mo o ntse o dutse teng.
Now we're starting to invite hands for submissions.
Gone yaanong ke yona tšhono re tlo go kopa matsogo bao ba batlang go tshwaela.
Number 1. Number 2. Does it mean these are the only 2 hands for now? Number 3, at the back. Okay, let's start with the 3 hands, then we'll come to another, or number 4 at the back. Thank you. Your name and surname, then you continue. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Doe Meyer, and together with my wife, operate a hospitality company as well as a preschool nursery company that educates around 200 plus kids for school. I'm representing One South Africa here today. I joined One South Africa in 2020, and I am the Tswane coordinator. Now, our current electoral system has created a 2-tier system in South Africa, with the line between party leadership and corporate South Africa blurred. A career in party politics these days promises unfathomable riches with the added benefit of no accountability to the South African public, as we, the South African people, have no say in who the individuals will be that political parties will put forward to enter parliament, provincial or local government. As an added incentive, these individuals are seldom, if ever, held accountable. As long as you toe the line of your party of choice, you will be rewarded with positions, riches, and prestige. And no matter how glaring your incompetence or how corrupt you are or how immoral your actions may be, South African voters can never fire you at the ballot box, as we are only allowed to vote for a political party and the individuals that party put forward. Harry Truman, the 33rd president of the USA, famously said, "Show me a man that gets rich by being a politician, and I will show you a crook." I have always wondered how our politicians become so fabulously rich on a package of about 1.1 million rand before tax. Although such a salary allows a very comfortable life compared to average South Africans, it will never make you a multimillionaire. Then how do the vast majority of our political leaders become multimillionaires while holding political office? The only way to ensure public accountability is to introduce independent candidates to the political landscape. Thus, I'm here standing today to voice my concern about the current draft of the electoral bill, which will never place independent candidates on the same footing as that of the political parties. It is clear that political parties do not have the political will to ensure real change with direct representation, because they stand to lose too much if the South African people are allowed to decide for themselves who should represent them, as opposed to that decision being made for them. Now, there are many flaws in the current draft electoral bill, but I will focus on two issues only. Firstly, the requirement for independent candidates to provide deposits of between 200,000 and 45,000 rand to contest national and provincial elections. In addition to the deposit, independent candidates are also required to submit a minimum number of signatures before they can contest elections. The deposit is refundable if the independent candidate is allocated a seat but is otherwise forfeited to the state. Failure to comply with either requirement will result in disqualification from contesting elections. With an official unemployment rate of over 35% at the end of 2020, although it's generally accepted that it is nearer to 50%, I believe that the requirement for a minimum number of signatures should be sufficient enough to allow an independent candidate to contest elections. The deposit requirement will only marginalize the poor and unemployed even further and should not be a requirement for contesting elections. The current bill effectively discriminates against less affluent South Africans and ensure that political power will firmly remain entrenched in the hand of the affluent only. Secondly, it is a monstrous power grab by the political parties to reserve 200 of the 400 seats in the National Assembly for themselves. Reserving 200 seats for political parties and limiting independent candidates to only contest 200 seats or the regional seats in the National Assembly is against the right of independent candidates to contest elections in terms of Section 19(3)(b) of the Constitution, as well as against the right of ordinary South Africans to vote for them. It is clearly a move by political parties to retain dominant representation in Parliament and keep the marginalized where they ought to stay, on the sidelines of power and at the mercy of the party-connected masters. I therefore recommend that the People's or the Lakota Bill be adopted that will allow all 400 seats to be contested by everyone, including independent candidates. I thank you.
And right. Okay. And ndiyazibulisela phakathi kwendlu.
I greet you all.
Mina ndinguThembeka wakwaMncube.
I am Tembega Mncube.
Ndihlala lapha eWard 49 eKanana.
I reside in Ward 49.
Okay. Mina ndi-against nendaba ze-independent.
I am against these independent candidates
Because if ever khona ngoku sithi singama-independent sisonke, means ukuthi sonke lapha endlini singaba independent.
because if we all say we are independent candidates, that means everybody is independent, is representing independent communities.
Yes. And then khona ngoku apha eSouth Africa ingxaki yamaphathi amaninzi.
Here in South Africa at the moment, we've got problem with lots of parties.
Because i-party says, if ever khona ngoku mna andivani nawe, because if ever ndithi mna ndi-independent because ndiphuma kwenye ipati, xa ndiphuma kwenye ipati leyo ndifune ndibonile ukuthi okay uThembeka akabonwa khona lapha, so uThembeka kufuneka abenze kube nabanye abakhe ahamba nabo athi okay nina nenze ngenani khona lapho wena siza kusupport.
If I'm saying I'm independent, all these independent parties are a result of factions from existing political parties. So this could be promoting factionalism in a way.
So if ever khona ngoku mna ndikuThembeka ndiyaphamisa isandla ndibona xa ndithi okay mna ndiyahamba ndiyazifunela ndiyenzele imipati because ndiyayazi phaa phezulu nam phaa ndizawubona ndinguThembeka ukuthi nam ndinephathi yam because independent, and then kunabanye abalapha emva abamncedisayo to other parties, because if ever maybe kusemne-percent ethize abathi into lena mabenze kufuneka ube ngumpresident or whatever, kufuneka uwongezelwe ngabanye aba basemva.
These parties are sponsored and backed by political factions in the parties. So I really do not encourage it because it enhances divisions in the society.
Because sicela ukuthi apha eMzantsi Afrika, if ever singabuyela emva kube ne-party, only 2 parties, because other countries kufana emangesini kunama prime minister, akunanto ezininzi.
I request that here in South Africa, if we may go back a bit, at least and have only 2 political parties. Like you go to the English, they don't have too many parties. They even have a prime minister. They don't have this mayhem we are witnessing.
So nathi khona apha eMzantsi Afrika ingxaki yethu sibaninzi because asisa controlate because of ama-right. Basiya kula bill of right. Kune right ukuthi I have a right ukuthi ndenze lento ne-freedom, i-dignity, whatever. So into lezo futhi ziyasibulala because le freedom yethu siyipractice kakubi because omnye nomnye ufuna
Here
ahlale
in South
esitulweni sakhe.
Africa, we've got too many rights and we exercise many of them to the level where we abuse those rights.
So mina bendizicelela lapha endlini ama-candidate if ever uphelele khona lapha iba lapha kulocal ndasekhaya uzihlalele ngoba khona ngoku wena ufuna uyapha phezulu and then ngoku bonke omnye nomnye umuntu if ever nisavani nani omnye nomnye umuntu uzoya khona apha athi mina ndiyi-independent. So indaba ye-independent-
Therefore, my request is that independent candidates should be limited only to local government. They shouldn't be open up to the higher spheres.
So ndiyazivulelela.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Given Mohani.
Ke a leboga, leina la ka ke Morgan Mohani.
Given,
Given Mohani.
yes, sir. From Mokgatlong One South Africa Movement. Ntate Chairperson, ke kgatlhanong le the bill
Chairperson,
it
I'm
is.
against the bill.
as it is, mara re supporta the constituency 1A is submitting ke bontate Lekota, e tsibuwang ka Lekota bill.
We support the constituency that is being done by Mr. Lokota.
Why re rialo tate ke gore
Why we say so?
if you look now, as communities, we are forced to vote for politicians that we don't like, but because of we have no choice, because of we support a certain political party, then we are forced to have those people there. Now, what we are saying is that let constituencies decide which politicians they want. And that's where now we say, let the independent come as the leaders in those communities. Let the communities vote for those people. Unlike what we're having now, we have politicians that they don't know ground. You know, I was laughing when we come in here. Some of the politicians uses their powers that we are councillors, therefore we're going to jump the queue and come in because now we are councillors. We have to be celebrities. And this is the problem that we have in this country. And that's why we say, let's have people chosen by communities, and they will be directly accountable to communities, like being directly accountable to political parties, that they will be protected by those political parties. Now, Chairperson, I've been following the sessions since you started, Parliament YouTube channel. And most of political parties made submissions for Bonaba against the independence. But when you listen how they reason, it is very clear it's what they're trying to protecting the political territory. Now, others they say, no, as the country we're not ready. But let me not go there, Chairperson, because I see it will stop me.
Hello? Yeah. I'm protecting you so that you don't enter in a terrain that is not,
No,
you
it's
don't
fine.
assist
No, I'm
the
out.
process.
No, I'm out.
Just keep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I'm out.
I don't want to argue. That's why I requested you to stop. When you've watched the YouTubes or whatever public hearings on the members that have presented, whether it's a political party or individuals or yourself, when we come to the podium, you must make your submissions and don't, if you want to ridicule, but argue your space without ridiculing other people who made submissions. Because all people who made submissions in political parties, for us as the committee, those inputs are important. So I'm just cautioning that when you make your submissions, you must argue your point without ridiculing other people, because it doesn't even assist. We're not interested on the ridicule of other people. So you must focus on your submissions so that you assist the committee to enhance itself on the issues that members are raising. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. What I'm trying to say is that as the country, South Africa, we are the leading country in this continent. Just across the SADC region, you have Uganda. That they went as far as electing president directly from the constituents. So you have the first elections of the president where any independent can decide that I want to be the president and being elected there. Now, why can't we do that? You go next door, Botswana, independent are allowed to contest the election on the constituency level. They use what they call first past the pool system, which is something that we can also adopt in this country. You go to Lesotho, it's the very same thing. So as the South Africa, I believe we are the leading country in this continent. And if we don't know maybe how to do this, Chairperson, the committee research team can do benchmarking with those countries. The parliament research team can still do benchmarking. IEC research team can still do benchmarking. So, Chairperson, we submit that we support the bill of Lekota bill must be adopted. Let's candidate be elected from the constituency, all 400 seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, all delegates here today and the House at large. My name is Henry Masugu and I'm from the One South Africa movement. Analysts have spoken. Those who know how to analyze the bill, the ones who understand the technicalities of the bill, they've all spoken. But I'm not here to do that today. I'm here as a member of the broader community who has seen how the current electoral system is affecting me. I want to present to you a life story. I am a 28-year-old who lives in Gauteng, and I've spent 7 years of my life working in the public health sector. And in the 7 years, I have only seen the decline of our beloved health system. And all this is happening because of two main problems that we have in our country. First problem, poor accountability. Second problem, poor representation. Why am I saying this? In 2021, early, Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Hospital was damaged by fire, and in turn it had to be evacuated and shut down. During that phase of the shutdown, security guards were in cohorts with criminals who came and stole hospital assets. And those assets have not been recovered as we speak. It didn't end there. Early this year, the very same hospital was attacked by floods. And that in essence means that the hospital has 3 blocks that are not working. But that's not the point that I'm here to make today. As a student at Wits University, I was part of the students who participated in the Fees Must Fall movement. We were not only fighting for high tuition fees, we fought for expensive accommodation, we fought for expensive textbooks, we fought for expensive cost of living that students have to go through in their student lives. It does not end there, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I pointing out all these things? I want to show that as a member, as a public sector worker and also as a student, I have been affected in the sense that I have not been able to call anyone that I have voted and said, these are the problems we have and this is what we need you to do, because we do not have access. No one is there to represent me. What we see instead is parliamentarians who sleep in parliament, parliamentarians who scream in parliament, parliamentarians who bicker in parliament. None of them has spoken about these problems that I have experienced, problems that the broader community experiences out there. All right, in any case, what I want to do now is to tell you why this bill does not work for me. And I have 3 things that I want to point out. Firstly, it disrespects the highest court in the land. The way that the bill has been proposed currently, it disrespects the highest court in the land that declared in 2020. Secondly, it wastes people's votes. Basically, you go and vote, you never know whether your vote is going to count or not if you vote for an independent. Thirdly, and it's also too limiting. Why am I saying it's disrespectful to the declaration of the Constitutional Court? I want to ask this House today, why has it taken so long for us to sit here as we are sitting today since the declaration by the ConCourt? Why has this House delayed these hearings? Secondly, why have I never heard of an advertisement on TV, on radio, on newspapers, or any other form of media? I've never heard that there is a parliamentary hearing on the electoral reform. I've never heard about that. And we feel that this is happening all because politicians are trying to protect one another. Politicians are dragging their feet. Politicians are dragging and they are wasting time trying to delay the wave of change that we are seeing in Africa. And we are here today to call that it's high time we amend the bill, allow independent candidates to stand for parliamentary seats, all 400 of them, not 200. We want them to stand for all 400. We want you to drop the requirements that discourage individuals like myself who may not have the money to pay so that I can contest for elections. We want you to drop the requirements for signatures that may be needed, which are not required when I am a member of ANC or EFF or whatsoever. We want to ask you a question. Why are you so adamant to shut out the general population, general citizens, general activists who want to make a change in their communities? I'm not done. I'm saying,
No, you're right, you are not done, but you're working outside your minutes.
oh, okay.
So you must work towards concluding, Mr.
All right. Most importantly, we want the bill to be amended because we want to have representation that we can have access to any day, anytime. We want representation. Secondly, we want accountability. We want to be able to go and knock at Mr. Lekoto's house and ask him, say, there is a pothole right on our street. What are you doing about it? As it stands, political parties are not working for us. We want independence, people we can have access to work for us. Thank you.
All those that made submission on the first set, we are going to recognize the second set of hands. Those that want to contribute, number 1. Followed number 2. Can I check hands? We need 10 hands.
Lava khumera vanhu.
We're encouraging you, we're not imposing you to talk, but we're encouraging you because this is your meeting. It's an important opportunity for you to talk to the committee.
A hi misindisi kambe mi nyika nkarhi wa leswaku mi kota ku vulavula na vaaki-kulorhi. Hi kombela mavoko ya 10.
Okay. Aye, Sungule.
Let's start again.
Yeah. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vanessa Manyapie from One South Africa Movement, and I am an unemployed humanities degree holder. I stand here today as a citizen advocating for change, which is why I am opposed to the bill the government intends to pass, because it is an unconstitutional and prevents direct election of our leaders to parliament. We as the people would like to be afforded the opportunity to directly choose our leaders, not political parties imposing their politics on us. I am in full support of a constituency-based system being put in place. Reason being, us the people will have a direct influence on who stands representative on our behalf as the population at large. There is a plethora of reasons as to why this bill is deemed unconstitutional. But today, we will be solely focusing on the fact that, based on the Electoral Amendment Bill, independent candidates are restricted from contesting the 200 national-to-national seats in the National Assembly, but are only allowed to do so for the regional seats in the National Assembly. The exclusion of independent candidates from contesting for 200 seats puts a restriction to the rights of independent candidates to contest elections in Section 19(3)(b) of the Constitution, which then restricts the citizens' right to vote. What the amendment bill stands for is the following. Even though an independent candidate has a huge following and the ability to receive votes allowing for occupation of a national seat, a win will not be granted nor allowed. This then automatically puts political parties at a great advantage as well as their supporters. Opposed to the above is the People's Bill, which opens up all 400 seats of the National Assembly to be contested for by independent candidates as well. Now, this to me sounds like the opportunity and platform for us as a people to have a direct influence over the change we want to see. I thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ke a le dumedisa kaofela. Nna ke public
greetings to-
fela ke tlo botsa fela ka mabapi le Home Affairs.
I
Rona
am going to ask a question regarding Home Affairs.
rona mo Hammanskral re na le Home Affairs.
Here
E ne ntse e le teng kgale le kgale ho feta makeishene a mang.
Here in
Hana
Hammas-
byanong Home Affairs ya rona ha ena di facilities tsa smart card.
Here
So-
in Hammanskral, we have a Home Affairs office, and those offices have been existing for a long time in comparison to other townships. But up until today, the Home Affairs office does not have facilities for the smart card.
So hana byanong bana ba ba tseyang di smart card ke bana ba banyane le bokoko. So Home Affairs e berekisiwang ke bana ba Hammanskral if then dilo tsa hao di batla ho tla ka pele o tshwantse o ye ko toropong. Hana byanong ba butse Home Affairs mo mmolong. Mo mmolong ho iriwa di smart card tseo. After that ba o romella molaetsa ba re e ya ko Akasia.
With
Bana ba
the-
rona ha ba itse Akasia ko ileng ko teng.
The
And
challenge-
ne ke tšhelete ya hore tshwantse ba namele.
The challenge we have here is that there is an office at the mall where our children go to take these IDs, but once they do not issue them because they get the messages to go to Acacia. And most of these young people do not know where Acacia is. And another thing, I think it also impacts on the elderly who must go and fetch their smart card IDs.
Nna ne ke kopa fela eo, ne ke batla fela ka yo Home Affairs.
That was the only concern I have.
We did not want to interrupt me when she was making a point.
Re ne re sa batle gore re emise mme ga ne a bolela,
Because we know that what she's raising is not part of the agenda item.
Gobane se a bolelang ka sona ga se tsamaisane le lenaneo la ditaba gompieno.
Mara it's an important issue she's raising with members of the committee.
Fela ke taba e botlhokwa thata a buang ka yona e tlhagisang mo malokong a komiti.
So how we've been doing with this, handling these issues, we are going to refer you to Mr. Matonsi. Yeah.
Ka mo re tlo go bontsha ka mokgwa re ntse re dira ka teng ka dintlha tse tshwanang le tseo re tlo go kopa gore o bonane le Rre Matonsi.
So anything that you want to raise on Home Affairs or any other department or issue outside this item of the Electoral Amendment Bill, just relax, you will interact with Mr. Matonsi.
Ga ile gore go na le ba bang ba ile gore ba na le dintlha tse ding tse ba batlang go di tlhagisa tse ile gore ga di tsamaisane le taba e re bolelang ka yona gompieno ya electoral bill ne re kopa gore o ikopanye le Rre Matonsi.
And then the second point that we're going to request those that are not going to make submissions because there are people outside.
Re tlo go kopa bao ba ile gore ga ba tlo go dira ditshwaelo gobane go na le batho ko ntle.
We are going to verify those that want to make submissions. So when you've made your submission, we'll request you exit the hall so that you will allow others to come in.
Re tlo go netefatsa mo go bona batho ba ko ntle ko gore e ka ba go na le ba batlang go dira ditshwaelo. Me re kope gore ga le feditse go dira ditshwaelo le tswele ko ntle gore re kgone gore o feditse go dira tshwaelo a tswele ko ntle gore re kgone gore re fe ba bang sebaka ba ntse ba le ko ntle gore le bona ba tsene ba tlo go dira ditshwaelo.
We don't want to exclude any other person. We want everyone to participate in this process.
Ga re batle gore go nne le motho re mo siang ko morago re batla gore batho botlhe ba nke karolo.
Now we're going to recognize the third row of hands.
Re tlo go kopa setlhopha matsogo a mang gape.
Number 1, at the back, you can come. Number 2. Any other hand? Number 3. In the meantime, security team, you'll assist us to check if there are other people who want to make submissions here so that we allow them. And those that won't have to make submissions, we can request them to give them their seats. Thank you.
Re tlo kopa batlhanka ba
Number
tshireletso
4, you can join.
gore ba re thuse ka go batlisisa mo go ba leng ko ntle gore go na le ba batlang go dira ditshwaelo ga ba bang ba feditse ba kgone go tsena ba tlo go dira ditshwaelo tsa bona.
You raise your hand in that. Oh, you have withdrawn. Okay, it's fine. The third. Yeah, but when calling you, join the queue, mister. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I could not notice.
Le intshwareleng ga ka tlhokomela seemo seo.
Can I request you so that you sit down, my man? It's a request, ne? It's not a directive.
Re ne re go kopa re ne re sa go ya lele.
Yeah. So we can start here, and then we release them to go back and sit. Thank you. You can proceed.
Aye. Ngiyabonga. Dumela mahathi.
Greetings to everyone.
Le kae? Maybe ke leboge monyetla o re o filweng
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
gore kajeko our portfolio committee e tla tlo buisana le rona
That the today portfolio committee came here for consulting with the public
ka proposal propose setting amendment bill electoral amendment bill.
regarding this electoral amendment bill.
But firstly, ke bua from a disadvantaged point.
I would like to highlight that I'm speaking from a disadvantaged point
As a disabled person,
as a disabled person.
Sorry, let's start with your name and surname.
or ngingusimangaliso Mtimonye.
Smangaliso Mtimunye.
Ya ngihlala lana eThambourville. Ngize njengomhlali.
I am here as a resident.
Okay. Yeah, as I say ukuthi ngikhuluma from a disadvantaged point ukuthi the way in which maybe this meeting was convened disadvantage thina. I was just fortunate that I belong to some WhatsApp group. I told information.
I think the way this meeting was convened, it disadvantages us. I was only fortunate that I am part of a WhatsApp group. That is where I got the information.
But overall, we, the disabled people, I mean, we are not consulted or maybe say recognized. Mhlambe sikhohliwe.
It seems like we, the disabled people, we are forgotten.
There is no interaction or ukuxhumana nento lena, especially uhulumeni wethu whatever in.
There are no communication channels between the government and the public.
So many times izinto zenzakala, so thina ukuthi kwenzakala ngathi or we play a role in the governance of our lives. Ibona lengathi is not important.
We just see things happening. It seems like the government does not care about us as to what is happening in the government. I think maybe they regard it as not important.
Because the government is supposed to be for the people, by the people. And so, uma share any sector your community is totally unfair.
If
for
we leave any
disabled people.
sector of the community, I think it is totally unfair, especially disabled people.
Okay. I think maybe I've reached that point. But to say on the amendment bill, I think our founding fathers and mothers, when they gathered at the Clip Town in 1995, they said the people shall govern.
Disrupt you a bit. They're saying, can you assist so that it talks to the mic? Yeah, please, can you assist? Yes.
Okay.
Siyabonga, bhuti.
No, basically what I was saying, okay, I was saying when our founding fathers and mothers gathered at Clip Town in 1955, they said the people shall govern. And today we meet as a result of a constitutional court order to say individuals have a right to participate. As the Constitution dictates that every person can stand for election to be elected or can elect. That one I think is not a question for us today to question it or whatever. It's a matter of coming here to ensure that we comply with the constitutional order. As much as we can say the Constitution is sacrosanct, it can be sacrosanct, but the Constitution can be like the Bible, as much as the Bible is said to be sacrosanct. In life, life changes every day. So you can't change the Bible maybe, but the Constitution is something that needs to move with times. At some point, we need to come and assess to say, from 1994 to today, are the material conditions on the ground still existing? I mean, living in the global community, we are affected by many things. But as far as we can see, the developments in the past years have shown us that our Constitution, perhaps it was meant as a transitional Constitution, as it was negotiated by then in 1996, or agreed upon. But it goes to show that it is not a transformation Constitution. Because many of the challenges that we face today as South Africans, it shows that from where we started in 1996 to today, we can achieve because of many of the constitutional constraints found in the Constitution. So it is important that, unfortunately, maybe the Portfolio Committee or Parliament maybe attends to this matter on a piecemeal. But overall, we need a Constituent Assembly, whereby we need to revisit the whole Constitution so that it can meet our transformation needs. Because we'll always have or face the problems of service delivery under the circumstances that we have. Many a times in Parliament, there are so many processes. If the communities faces challenges, there are many processes to be followed. When you ask, you'll be taught that is the Constitution, is the Constitution. So, but if we not only attend to the electoral process as part of the Constitution, but the overall Constitution, it will assist us. So that's why I'm saying that for us, it's not to question as to whether we have independence or not. That is the compliance that we have to meet. But after all, we need to protect, especially the vulnerable communities. Because today, to be a politician or to serve in the public office is not a call. But many, they want to ascend the political office because of money and greed. So, but you are saying the most vulnerable people, especially the poor, will be taken advantage of. So it is important that we directly elect our leaders. And again, we need to ensure that maybe the government maybe aligns these things. I hear many times the government speaks of the district models. But how do we align this independent system with the district model? It goes to say it's the constituency. As we speak now, we might have 400 members of parliament, but not all communities are represented. And again, if we speak within the confines of 400, it's something that speaks to what I earlier said, to say that we need to revisit the whole thing. Because 400, South Africa can't fit into 400 representatives. The other point is the question of the proportional.
Yeah, just work towards closing.
The proportional system itself doesn't depend on democracy. You'd find that a smaller party has fewer than maybe 10,000 votes. But because of this, I'm not sure, the mathematics involved, but we find them represented in parliament. But if we have direct election, then we'll be sure, and with your simple majority, 50+1, then that's where we'll get it. But with the current proportional system, many will just get the votes and get the seats, but you find that they are not the popular elected representatives. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next. Siyabonga Bhuti for allowing us to start with the gentleman.
Dumela.
Good morning.
Dumela. Na ke nna Lesedi Mati, ke moahi wa Mokrisano na Mothemba.
My name is Lesedi Maki. I'm a resident here at Temba.
Na ke khatlano le mokhatlo wa independent.
I am opposed to this amendment bill
Honne re nnile le hore o tlo nna le ditlhopho ka mokgo re boneng le motho wa tlhophilwe mo plekeng ya rena o tswile dinomoro tse dintsi o bontsha hore setšhaba se mo ratile.
because we are opposed to this because as we have seen that a lot of those who contested the elections, we have seen that the community are supporting them. That is why they got the seats.
Kore here ka bia o wa independent e tlo nna hore o khethile ke bo mang le setšhaba sa tsebe e tle be ile re o etsa dilo tsa hae a le one a sa repotele setšhaba back.
If we allow the independence, I think there is going to be a problem with accountability towards the community.
Ke sa senya nako ke tswalle bjao.
That is all I wanted to say.
Ke dumedisa di le rara tsa rona tse ditseng ka mo pele.
Greetings to all the leadership in front of us,
Ke dumedise batho bohle ba leng teng ka hare ho poleke.
and I greet all the public in here.
Nna ka lebitso ke nna Teboho James Thakedi ke hlaha lefatsheng la Tsakane.
My name is James Chakedi from Tsakane.
Ke itebohela haholo ha re fumane monyetla wa hore re tlo bua le di-leader-a tsa rona
I appreciate this opportunity to come and speak with our leaders
ka mathata ao re shebaneng le ona moo re dulang teng.
about the problems we are facing at our residential areas.
Ke tlile mona ke hlaha lefatsheng la Tsakane.
I'm from Tsakane.
Ke tlile mona ka lebaka la hobane ke dumellana le taba ya hore independent candidate tlamehile di be teng.
I support the amendment to include independent candidates
Because independent candidate ke batho ba e leng hore ba kgethuwa ke mphakati.
because independent candidates are elected by the communities
Ene ke batho ba laolwang ke mphakati.
and they are also controlled by the communities.
Ke nahana hore ke bona batho ba tla kgona ho utlwa dillo tsa rona
I believe that those people will hear our cries
because ntho e nngwe le e nngwe ba e utlwa ho ba kgethuwe ke rona re ba beile ko pele.
because we elected them to be our leaders.
Ha hona motho a mo laolang molao o mong le o mong o nka ho tswa ho mphakati.
They get every mandate from the community,
rather than batho ba leng mo di-partying,
unlike those people who are affiliated to parties,
because ba na le melao ya bona o e tloang ko di-partying tsa bona.
because they follow the policies of the political parties that they are affiliated to.
Ebe di-service tsa bona di ba puo because of ba re molao o nka nako ho phethisa ditlhoko tsa mphakathi.
And then those people also don't serve the communities well.
Taba ya ka ke ena, ke na le 23 years ke dula mo ke dulang.
I'm 23 years at my current residential area.
E sale ho ntso ho tswa councillor ena ho kena ena, ho tswa ena e kena ena.
Councillors have been coming in and going out,
Mara ha ona le service e le nngwe e kileng ba e etsa.
I haven't benefited in any service delivery from what they have been doing.
The only service e kileng ka e bona ka mahlo a ka e etsuwa e sale ke dula polekeng e ke dulang ho yona.
The only service that I've witnessed in my current residential area is
Ke hore ba re fe di-toilet fela tse hulwang ka di-truck, ke yona fela.
they only gave us portable toilets.
And mo re dulang teng re dula ka hara metsi le bana ba rona le di-family tsa rona.
It's always wet where we are residing with our families and kids.
And bana ba rona ba kula, bana ba bo rona ba kula, bomme ba rona ba kula ka lebaka la poleke e re dulang ho yona.
As a result of such conditions, our children and parents are sick.
Mara ka dinako tsa di-vote ba tla tla ba tlo re tshepisa hona le hona, mara ho sena letho ba re etsetsang yona.
But during election time, they come and make many promises.
Jwale, I think maybe independent candidate, they can come with a changes.
O ka tswela pele ba ho-
Because obane ba tla ba kgethuwe ke rona, re na le tokelo ya hore ha ba sa re sebeletse re ba tlose.
Because I also believe that the independent candidates will do what we want, because we also have the right to remove them if they are not serving us.
Jwalo ke ne ke kopa ho tswa ho lona hona mo ke dulang teng ke ko polekeng ho thweng ke Makgoba.
I'm coming from a place called Makgoba,
Re dula ko pela N17.
next to N70.
Bana ba bo rona ba shwa ke dikoloi, ba chaiswa ke dikoloi ko N17.
Some people are knocked down by cars next to N17.
Ba tsamaya ba ya dikolong ko Thema, ha ba ya sekolong ba tlola N17. Ha hona dikolong around mo re dulang teng.
Okay, our kids are being knocked down by cars because they go to schools in in other areas and they have to pass through that N17.
Mare di-councillor tsa rona di dula di bona ntho ba ntse ba re ba tla lokisa, mare ba dula ba tjhentjhana. Ha hona le a le mong a lekang hore a etse plan ya hore ba bone hore na bana ba ya kae.
Our councillors are witnessing all these circumstances, but they are not doing anything to bring changes.
I even take a chance hore nna ke volunteer hore ke kgone ho tlodisa bana hoseng ha ba ya sekolong, ba ska chaiswa ke dikoloi.
I also assist the kids sometimes to cross over that busy road.
Then ke bone last time there is a bridge that e ba e entseng ko freeway hore batho ba kgone ho jumpa, ba ska jumpa freeway.
I have realized that there's a new bridge that has just been constructed to assist to avoid the accidents that can happen when people cross the freeway.
And bridge it was my request 10 years ago, but I thank you for that, because it shows someone just hear what I was thinking about. So ke kopa hore jwale ka le dilaga tsa lona, consider where we stay. The arena gesi, arena di toilet, arena metsi, arena next, but ka dinako tsa di vote re a vote. And when it comes to the vote, they are coming with their cars to take the old people to the voting station so that they can vote for themselves. But when the vote had the vote, then they forget about us. So ke kopa hore le consider more dulang teng. I ke bohloko haholo because of more dulang. I ke na le 23 years ke dula mo. There is no one, even one change that is happening there. But we have councillors and we have leaders. Thank you.
You have,
Avuxeni kwenu.
Greetings to everyone.
La vulavulaka la Isalfina Mbombi.
I am Salfina Mbombi.
Ni muaki wa la Themba a Tambo.
I'm a resident of Temba in the Tambo area.
Mina ni supporta mkhatlo lo wa independent.
I support the idea of independence.
Why no supporta?
Why do I support it?
Because ekhale niri muaki wa lani ibile niri member ya ANC.
Because I've been a resident here for a long time and also a member of the ANC.
Awuna silo se ki thuswang ka sona.
There's nothing that I've been helped on.
Ki ile ka tshela ke ntlo ka 2007.
My house burned down in 2007.
ANC ya nthusa ne ke ya hile ni stoli family ya Ramaphosa.
The ANC didn't help me with anything, and I've been trying to get help with this ANC of Ramaphosa.
Le ke bulela yana ni vulavula tani na ri mkhatlo wa ANC na sweswi.
As I speak, I'm still a member of the ANC.
Ni stanle vukhanselara kambirhi.
I even contested as a councillor twice.
Va nga ni sapoti leadership a ni sapoti community loko yi sapota va thivela va ri sapota ni muketekete.
The ANC leadership doesn't support me. When the community tries to give support to me,
Va
they try to
teka
block me.
ti-member ta wena leti u nga ti recruita va ti endla ti-member ta vona ku ri ti sapota vona
They
as
took-
vona ku ri ti-leadership.
They took the members that I've recruited to give them to the people that they prefer for their leadership.
And sisi ni joina ANC hi 2005
Since I joined the ANC in 2005,
mara ku na thuso leyi ni ku na ku pfuneka loku ni ku kumaka.
I haven't gotten any help.
Ni vulavula na sweswi a ni khomiwile ni nga endlangi nchumu hi mhakeni ya ANC.
Even if I speak, as I speak now, I just got
Ni huma ku
arrested for
tlela a New
nothing
Loko
because of
2 weeks
ANC.
hikwa 15 days plus 3 days ya le police station.
I've been away locked out for 15 days plus another 3 days in police station
Ni nga endlangi nchumu.
for nothing.
And then ni khomeliwa ku ni fa ni suka la xitene lexi ni tshamaka ka xona.
They wanted to remove me from the stand where I'm dwelling.
Xitene xa mina a ni xi lomangi ibile a ni hirangi.
This is my stand. I didn't borrow nor hire from anyone.
Xi rhijisitariwile hi mavito ya mina, xi vitana mavito ya mina.
It's fully registered legally under my names.
Ni tshama na vana va mina ku humelela mavito ya mina na vana va mina ka xitene lexiya.
I reside there with my kids, and even the names for that stand are that of mine.
Salini toyitoyila I'm sure so five times.
I tried to protest maybe 5 times.
Van toyitoyela na setwa president a ri kona ku ri yena nga sungula mhaka leyi. Dr. Tsepo.
They came and protested, even high profile personalities were there.
loko mo kota ku mani loko mo kota ku focus ka ti issues leti mi nga sungula hi tona ta amendment bill.
Please, if you can just focus solely on the issue of the amendment of the
Ya
bill.
twisisa ku ri mina ku na ti issues tin'wana which are also important, but let's just focus on the amendment bill. Issues ta arrest and other things we may not as a committee able to interact with them.
Hambileswi mi nga va ku mi vavisekile timhaka ta ku khomiwa na swin'wana na swin'wanyana, hina tanihi komiti a hi nge swi koti ku mi pfuna eka mhaka yaleyo. A hi ta kombela mi languta ngopfu ka mhaka leya amendment bill.
But if there are other issues, we are here with the officials, Mr. Matonzi. You will attend, you will listen to those issues so that where possible, the committee members will interact with those issues.
Kambe mi nga heli mbilu, kuna tatani Mathonsi la hi te na vona, swivilelo swa n'wina mi nga swi yisa ka vona, va ta kota ku va va mi langutela swona.
Yeah, more work towards your closing.
Mi nga gimeta ku nga ri khale.
hambi ku ri tindlela ti lunghisi tindlela ta hina a ti kahle
Our roads are also bad, they are not being fixed.
loko huma mitirhi va hirana hi xivona a ni tirhi na vana va mina a va tirhi mara va hete matric
When there are jobs available, they only hire amongst themselves. My kids have matriculated, but they're not working. I'm not working either.
mara ki support-a ANC mo lo ri a ke tlhalohanya
But I support the ANC and it confuses me.
Okay, no, you can
ANC
say.
ku ri a yi na musula munhu a yi na musula ka mina
Thank you. Thank you for all those that have made their submissions. We request another set of hands. Ikombela maboko mita blah blah na inwe commit. You're the first one? Yes. Number 2? Yes. Number 3? Sure. Number 4? Go and enter it. Yes. You're number 4. Or you came late. When you know to join the list, my brother. Number 5. Number 6 with the cap. Sister. Cap, yeah. Yes. Sporty man, sporty, sorry. At the back, number 7 and number 8. Yeah? Yeah. Number 9 on the row. Number 10. Okay, number 11, the last one on the yes, number 11. Thank you.
Sure. I'd like to greet honorable leadership and everyone who took time to attend this meeting. And I'd like to thank us for giving us this opportunity because this is a very important meeting to have a chance to express what we feel about this electoral bill system. So I think this electoral bill system, it's discriminating communities. Because in communities, there are a lot of leadership figures who work daily to try to help the poor and the needs. But because of they are not politically active or politically responsible, they don't have a voice, they don't have a say. So I'm 32 years old. I was born and raised in Temba, Ward 74. Now I'm the resident of Kanana, Ward 49. My community, it's Kanana, it's in Ward 49, where we know that it's the biggest ward in our region. But most of the service deliveries of our communities are very slow, they come lastly. Because of most of the people that they choose, the system choose to vote, they don't know what the communities are facing every daily in their lives. Always what they do, they send people to inspect how we are living, what we have and what we don't have. And the most important fact is jobs, job opportunities. I'm 32 years old, I've never been employed in my life. It's not like I don't want to be employed. I've tried even to apply to become a police or a soldier to serve my country, which is, it's not difficult, it's very difficult. So I've ended up registering a multimedia and arts company where I could try to make a living, where I focus on trying to help little kids, where I realized that my community, there's young children who are smoking this new drugs called crystal meth. Young children around 14 years, but nobody can do about it. So my company is a studio, recording label where I groom these young children and give them something better to focus on so that they cannot be involved in drugs. Very, very, very important drugs. But because of I don't have a say, I had to be politically active or involved in my community so that I can get access to membership, because without a membership, there's a lot of procedures so that we can be politically independently. So if we don't have, sometimes in our parties, it becomes delays to get access to memberships, because we know that we can volunteer or participate even in the branch executive committee or the regional committee, just to volunteer without a simple thing like a membership. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Your name? Just go to the mic. And sorry, sister.
My name is Michael Matlala.
Michael, so all of us, when we start, let's introduce our name so that your notes and input are recorded, and our team, they're able to take, to do reference. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you all for giving us this opportunity, because it's something that hardly comes by. My name is Clara Ntobela. I'm from Mashimung in Ward 76. I'm not here as an individual, but I'm here to represent the whole community of Ward 76. I haven't been living in the community for a very long time. It's only been a few years because of studying and work, but with the way that I see our community, I feel like having an independent councillor or mayor or whatever leader we need would be a much easier way for us to be successful as a community. Because the one thing that is mainly needed in our community is employment. And it's not just our community, but it's South Africa as a whole. And I feel like if we have a representative in our community that is leading us, they know each and every one of the problems that we have. And I feel like they will interact better with members of the community in order to have progress. So in our community, we have been living there for a very long time. And as long as I've been there, I haven't seen any development from the government whatsoever, except for stop signs, which is completely unnecessary. There was no need for stop signs because there is no road. What's a stop sign doing on a gravel road? That's one of the things that we have. That's one of the problems that we have in our community. Our community members are unable to go to work. Our children are unable to go to school because it's very hard for cars to leave our community, to go outside of our community. That's the number one factor that we have. And with number two, we don't have a school that is nearby where the kids can be able to get to school easier and quicker and safer. The schools are very far away from where we live. It's really far. The kids, the mothers, they only get 450 from the government, and already 300 is for transportation. That money is not helping in any way, and we are really grateful that the government helps our mothers and our children, but that's one thing that we need, is to help us where we need the help, because we don't have a school that is nearby for our children. They go to other wards in order to get education, which is something that is not good, because now they are unable to fulfill their rights. Their right is not being met. They are not being met there. And then the number three thing that we need is mobile clinics. The clinic as well is not in our ward. It's far away from our ward. So we have elder people. They are old. It's really hard to get there. And we are a poor community. Sometimes they don't even have transport money to get to the clinic. At least mobile clinics will help them whenever they feel like they need help, medical help, or they need help with their health. That's the number three thing that we need. And then another thing, please excuse me for a few seconds. We need clean water, please. We really need clean water in our community. It is the one thing that is most important. And even when the water is not there, they don't send us trucks. They send a truck and it stops where the road ends. And there's still many houses going forward. So they don't even though you go to get the water, you'll only be able to take 2 buckets because it's too far from where you live. So at least fix our water, or if you don't fix it, send trucks that will be able to go deeper into the community in order to serve our people with clean water, because children get sick, old women and men get sick at home, and people don't have money to buy purified water. That's another thing. And with all this being said, with the government or whatever independent party will be ruling our community, trying to meet all these grievances that we have will be solving unemployment as well. I don't understand why it's so difficult for the government to do all these things that are needed, because by doing one thing, you cover another aspect that is also a problem. In just one solution, you can solve many problems. So I feel like we would really appreciate it as a community if the government would at least, you don't have to do everything in 1 year, but when there's a new elected member who's leading our community, we need to see a change. We are not expecting them to do everything in one go. Obviously, that is impossible because we understand there's also a budget that is from the department and whatsoever, however these things go. But at the end of the day, whenever there's somebody who's leading us, we expect the government to at least bring upon, even if it's just one change. You don't have to change everything. Bring one change. And as time goes on, everything will be sorted out. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that you gave me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ndala Laki. I'm a member of the South African Communist Party. Firstly, the motto of Parliament says they represent the people. And people does not necessarily mean a fragmentation of individuals. Therefore, democracy does not mean a sparse or dispersed different people coming together with different interests with no common objective. It is in the Constitution. It says we, the people of South Africa. It doesn't speak of individuals. It says individuals have identified their needs and collapsed them into one objective. Therefore, democracy cannot be reduced to a fragmentation of small minority parties which do not agree on many things or common objectives. Therefore, I will submit the following: that independent parties should compete on the same terms as political parties, because their requirements of registration as independent candidates is the same as the requirements of those that are political parties. Unless they should have a specific amount that they would pay, that whatever that they were going to provide in council or in the legislature or in parliament, whatever that they're going to provide is going to be extraordinary. So far, I am not convinced that we are ready for this approach that is suggested. We acknowledge the court order, the constitutional court order, that they should participate. However, it is still premature. Representative democracy in this instance is still the approach that we should use until we are ready. For now, we are not ready. Take also, for instance, I don't know the number of political parties we have in the country at national and provincial level contesting elections. However, if such a window is open for independent candidates, you can imagine the list of parties and independent candidates who would be contesting elections. You would have a 72-page ballot paper to go through just to cast a vote. It would be cumbersome on the voter. It would be unfair on their choice that they should make. It would be also unfair on the electoral officers and those who would be doing you can just imagine the logistics, the size of the ballot box, the number that you're going to take while counting, the days, the suspense that would be created. Also that if the concern is to cater for the PR system, the PR system has always been accommodated in this current Electoral Act. It has always been accommodated. There are minority parties, and in fact, we should refrain from calling them minority parties per se, or opposition parties. We should call them minority parties with a democratic mandate, so that whatever contribution they make in parliament, it should not just be reduced to distraction and disruption. They should make meaningful contributions that take the country forward. Otherwise, parties that still remain on the ballot, whereas elections have passed and they have not met a threshold, I propose that they should be removed, because you can't keep a political party on the ballot paper which does not meet the threshold to get into parliament. They must go back again and mobilize the people and come back to show that they are a legitimate party whose members have interest in voting for it. Otherwise, it creates an unnecessary long ballot for the voters, and that process is strenuous on us, the voters, as well. Lastly, on the registration of independent candidates and other political parties. If, for instance, it takes 200 or 100,000 people for one to register a party, why is the IEC not inquiring, or the parliament, as you are here, why are you not inquiring that the members that you submitted, they were 100,000? How come you do not get such a number of, it means your people did not vote for you. If they did not vote for you, why can't we use that same approach that this is your threshold, you misled IEC, you were registered because you committed fraud and you did not get these numbers legitimately. Therefore, let's withdraw you, go back again, get the same people, have addresses, let's call these people. And if you don't meet the threshold again, just get out, go back. We will check whether the PR system will accommodate you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. No, thank you very much, Chairperson and your colleagues there, and the community here. My name is Obaken Ramabodu. I'm from the EFF. We want to thank you for this opportunity that you gave to the community. It gives us that at least there's something that is being done. However, we have few things that we are not sure about this bill. As the EFF, we don't support the bill. And we are of the view that as the country, administrative and otherwise, we are not ready for this bill. And over and above political party and political challenges that it will bring, we are of the view that we are just going to get a crisis, as we can't even now manage the 48 of parties that are contesting. If you check the ballot comes elections from 2014, we are having additional 19 political parties, which makes it 48. And most of those political parties are not even doing well. Most of them haven't got efficient seats to go and make it in parliament. The other issue is that this bill is not going to strengthen democracy with anything. There's nothing democratic about this bill. In fact, this bill is just going to make sure that those who want to infiltrate the system gets in there. And I'm talking about those who have money, those who can control individuals, because they are not accountable to anyone. There's no one, if that person comes as independent and that person is given responsibility and money to go and service our people, who is he or she accounting to? She's not going to account to anyone. No one will come and say, because you have done this, this is the constitution of the party that you belong to, we are going to hold you accountable, and the systems in the state or the state organs are going to hold you accountable. But because we respect the law, we will respect the decision of the Constitutional Court. And for that, we think because we are going to honor the Constitutional Court, these are the conditions that we must put for the independent. We're of the view that the threshold of the independent candidate must not be anything less than 20,000. They must at least have 20,000 of the people who guarantee that they are going to vote them, and those people must be registered with IEC, and IEC must help us to make sure that it verifies individual who that independent comes with. We also have a view that those independent who wants to contest must also be given the same treatment as a political party, because we are going to contest the same space. Why should you be given a different treatment? You said you want to come. Let's get the same treatment as a political party, because now you are a political party, you want to go as individuals. But Chairperson, I can tell you, if we can allow this, we are going to have an individuals who will want to capture this country because that person is a billionaire. At least we have useless billionaire who get through the parties. Then they are accountable to the parties, than a billionaire who will get alone there and do as he wants without being held accountable by everyone. We strongly discourage a by-election to replace independent candidates who either die or resign for parliament or legislature, because in such, it permits the country to be in a permanent election. So we are going to be in a permanent election if we allow by-elections also on those independent candidates. Remember, we will be having a lot of people who will be contesting the elections. I think my colleague will deal with other issues. I think I've disposed all the issues, but EFF doesn't support it, but because of our respect for the law, we will accept it in the conditions that I've stated on the bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At the back there, the madam, sorry, okay. Okay, thank you. Let's give the gentleman an opportunity, if you can be quiet.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. Ke dumedise setjhaba sa Hammanskral, maloko a EFF.
Greetings to the members of Hammanskral and the EFF
In Gauteng.
in Gauteng.
Ke dumedise le maloko a di-party tse dingwe mo.
Greetings to all other members of the political parties.
Yeah, o emeng mo ke Leofi wa Leshabana.
Ke Leofi. My name is Leofi
Leshabana.
Leshabana.
Ke motlatsa modulasetulo wa EFF o a fetsa go bolela nou.
I am the deputy chairperson of EFF member who has just spoken.
Let me extend my greetings ho dirong wa puleng tsa parlamente.
Let me send my greetings to the representative of the government.
Ke tshwere position ya EFF mo. I'm not going to waste a lot of time.
I have a position of the EFF, but I'm not going to waste your time.
Ke tlo le sebela ka sekgowa.
I'm going to speak in English.
Re le fokoletse mathata o nyaka di transcriber and interpreters.
We will make it easy for you and not need interpretation.
Sa mathomo bjalo ka mokgatlo wa EFF re re ha re eme le
Like we are the EFF, we are not in support of the bill.
Thanks. Let me just read it through so that I save time. As the EFF, we do not support the bill because as a country, we do not think that we are ready administratively for the bill, both from the IEC and Parliament, over and above other political challenges it will bring. This bill is not going to strengthen our democracy. Instead, it is just going to be used to infiltrate oversight and legislative processes by people who want to use money to control individuals that are not accountable to a collective but to themselves. Thirdly, since the Constitutional Court has put a position, independent candidates must contest national general elections on the following conditions that the EFF is putting forward. The first condition is that the threshold for the nomination of independent candidates must not be less than 20,000. And this must be people who are registered to vote, and the IEC must be able to verify them individually. Secondly, the reason we are saying the threshold must be higher for those wishing to contest is because of it is lower. We are going to have thousands of candidates for provincial and national elections, and that will be impossible to efficiently administer from electoral point of view. Thirdly, the deposit that independent candidates must pay must be the same as the deposit paid by the political parties, and it must not be refundable, as the inclusion of independent candidates will come with costs, and the people who wish to stand should not be taking chances. Fourthly, those who contest as individual independent candidates and get higher votes than is required to get in Parliament must forfeit the remaining votes because they would have been given a clear and equal opportunity and option to contest as a political party. Fifthly, we strongly discourage by-elections to replace independent candidates who either die or resign from Parliament or legislature, because if such is permitted, the country will permanently be in election mode. Kesho re kwagetše o tšwa mo Tshwane mo re tla no tšwela pele bjalo opposing this bill, and those are the submissions that we are making organizationally. Thank you.
I hope we have made our point from Tshwane and will keep on doing it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Boitumelo Rasose. I'm a public representative of the EFF. As the EFF, we are strongly disagreeing with this bill amendment. So, as the EFF, we don't support the bill because as a country, we do not think that we are ready administratively for the bill, both from the IEC and the Parliament, over and above other political challenges it will bring. This bill is not going to strengthen our democracy. Instead, it is going to be used to infiltrate oversight and the legislative process by the people who want to use the money to control individuals that are not accountable to a collective but themselves. Thank you.
Fighter, can you come back? Come back, they are requesting your name and the surname.
My name is Boitumelo Rasweswe.
Butumele Rasos. Next. Just hold on. There's an announcement.
Hello, there is a car which is parked outside here which has blocked some people to go out. HB 10 LHGP. If the owner is here, please can you remove it?
Thank you. Proceed. Sorry for that.
Ke tla simolla ka ho dumedisa ditulo tsa ba baholo ba parliament ya rona.
May I start by greeting honorable members from the parliament.
Lebitso la ka e le nna Dumisani Johnny Mabuza.
My name is Dumisani Johnny Mabuza.
Ke le mo ke le ka Mzansi Communal Property Association.
I'm a member of Mzansi Communal Property Association.
Ke nna mo Ward 75 ke le leader ya mo hae mo.
I reside and am a leader of Ward 75 locally.
Rata hore re be khatlhanong le yona independent candidate.
We are opposed to the inclusion of independent candidates.
Mabaka e le hore if re ba le di independent candidate re tlo ba le system se e leng hore se tswa mo taelong ka taba tsa hore bontši ba batho ba tla ba nyaka go tsena as the independent candidate.
The reason being that we think it is going to create an uncontrollable situation because a lot of people will want to come as independent candidates.
Mabaka a mang ke hore re tlo tshwanela go fumana dipampiri tse ngata hore ba tsene and re tlo ba le mokgobo wa dipampiri unnecessary.
And we are going to need a lot of paper and which is unnecessary.
And then tongwe e tla re bakela di mafian states mo e leng hore ba ditšhelete ba tlo nyaka hore ba gatelle setšhaba sa rena.
We also think that those who are in power will want to suppress our people.
Ba ba tshwereng tšhelete ngata ba tla nyaka ho tsenela di independent and then ba rekele batho re fitlhele re le hore motho ha ana kwa accountang ko teng.
Those who have a lot of money, they will want to contest as independent, and you'll find that they are not accountable to anyone.
Ke ona mabaka a e reng e tla re na le bothata bo bokana ba di service delivery ya re ya ko ena re ro batla thuso o tla ba re botsa ra ke sure hore bile le voted.
Those are the reasons, as you know, the status quo here, that we have challenges with regards to service delivery. When we go to him, for him to account, he will say, maybe he will respond by saying that I'm not even sure that you voted for me.
And then mabaka manga submitang ko hore maybe ho register for independent ebe tšheletenyana ko dimunyana hore re sa kra re na le batho ba bangata ba tlo register for the independent.
We also propose that the deposit that is being paid, that it must be raised so that we do not have a lot of people coming to contest as independent candidates.
Ke a leboga badulasetulo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah. Okay. Ke re ke le dumedise baholo ba ka ka mo ntlong e.
Greetings to you, honorable members.
O a bolelang o ke Dr. Maifadi.
My name is Dr. Maifadi.
The same profession ya bo doctor ke lebitso.
It's just a name, not my profession.
Ke tswa mo mokgatlhong o wa EFF.
I am a member, I am EFF member.
Ke serve ka Mara region.
I serve in the region.
Ke batla go tlhaisa ntlha tse tharo fela.
I just want to raise 3 issues.
Le potso mara ke nyake ya arabiwe.
And a question, though I am not expecting a response.
I want to start by saying this, that South Africa, it will be ruled by 100 reds, not 1 lion. By so saying, I'm saying that political templates, when coming to socialism, communism, you name them, they are there. And therefore, if we flip-flop by coming up with the individual, those who are campaigning to be elected, we will be losing the title of us as South Africa. And therefore, I'm saying this, that we must unify and to be together as one. By doing this, those who are coming, ba re ke bonkgetheng ba ba tlhaelang ba tlo ba bonkgetheng ba re ba tikemetse, ba tshwanetse bona ka se bona e be le gore dinomboro tsa batho ba ba nyakang go ba kgetha ke batho ba e leng gore ba registerile go vouta.
What we are saying is that all those who want to contest as the independent candidates must meet the same threshold as other political formations.
And then in number ya gore o register e be ro go allow tshwantse e namelle e fitlhe ko bo ma 20,000 ya batho.
And that threshold must be up to 20,000.
Gore o kgone go ba accountable
so that you will be accountable
to those people whom they have voted for you.
To the people who voted you.
Nna ke eme bjana
I am standing here today
to say gore the IEC itself e ka se kgone go tshwara buka e lekanang textbook gore e tsene ka mo di voting batho ba tlo phuthulla ma page a ma 200.
The IEC, it is going to be a problem for them to have a ballot paper which has 200 pages for the people to come and vote.
And the utilization of chelete ya South Africa tlabe e ba spendthrifty for nothing at all.
That is going to have a negative budgetary impact as well.
It will affect the IEC.
It is going to affect the IEC.
And the government of South Africa must now come up with this oomph that is stated in its constitution, that the one who wants to stand to be the nominee of the day must have that number, of which is 20,000 or above, so that he can be able to be recognized as a nominee. Then by my words, I'm saying thank you for participating in this parliamentary session. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Ke a dumedisa. Lebitso la ka ke nna Mpho wa Matlhabane.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Mpoma Tlhabane.
Le nna ke re ke latlhelela Motlapitso.
I also want to make a contribution.
Le nna ke tswa ko mokgatlong wa EFF.
I am also from the EFF.
Le nna ke re ha re support bill e.
I am also saying we do not support this bill.
Because bill e ke nahana hore as a country IEC le parliament ha le so be ready hore le ka kgona ho implement at an administrative level.
Because I believe that as a country as well as the IEC, you are not yet ready administratively to deal with these proposed changes.
Everyone here has talked about examples, say logistically, that will bring about the implementation of this, and which are tedious and are a problem. I do not want to talk about those things. Feel like this bill also will not strengthen our democracy. Instead, you allow bomahana ubuswa bagre opportunity ya uberekisa chelete.
This bill is not going to assist us, but instead it is going to allow the opportunists to come into the space.
Fela Chairperson, khutla kholo ya molaotheo e re beile fa.
But we are here because of the Constitutional Court ruling.
Ibile kere ka hore molao yona ka hore ke its decision is supersedes everything. This is the proposals that we're making. The threshold for this nomination of independent candidates must not be less than 20,000. And the people nominating this candidate, they must be registered to vote. And IEC should be able to verify them one by one. Or batho ba ba registered lo vote, ile ba nominate motho gore be member wa parliament or wa legislator.
The IEC must make sure that they make sure that all those people who are registered with the IEC, those who are supporting the independent candidate.
Re so because if we be a go class threshold, then it means everybody can come and contest. Then
We are proposing that threshold because if we have a lower threshold, then everybody will want to come on board.
it means ho tlo ba boima ho administer
It is going to be very difficult to administer.
at an electoral point of view. Le tšhelete ba tshwanetse ba e ntshe, Chairperson.
And there are also budgetary implications.
The independent candidates, Chairperson, tshwanetse di patele tšhelete e ko hodimo.
The deposit or the money which they pay, it must be a higher amount.
E lekane le ya di-political party.
It must be the same as political parties.
Because ba na le opportunity ya ho contesta ka the way the political party di na le opportunity ya ho contest.
Because they have similar opportunities with political parties in terms of contesting.
Mme ke re, wa kgonang ho fihlella, wa kgonang ho electiwa.
The one who can afford, who wants to be elected as an independent candidate,
And o kry-a di-vote tsa ko hodimo ho feta tse di behilweng as a threshold.
and gets votes which are higher than the threshold,
O tshwanetse a di forfeit the
Uh,
remaining votes.
must forfeit the remaining votes
Because na ntse a na le opportunity ya ho contest as a political party.
because he had an opportunity to contest as a political party.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Next.
Greetings to the officials of Parliament. My name is Nontlantla Nisi. I am also the member of EFF. And we as the EFF, we do not support this bill. We do not think that the IEC and the Parliament are administratively ready for this bill. This bill is not going to strengthen our democracy. It is just going to be used to infiltrate oversight and legislative process by people who want to use money to control individuals that are not accountable to a collective but themselves. As the Constitutional Court has put a position, we as the EFF has the following conditions for those who will be contesting as independent candidates. The threshold for the nomination of independent candidate must not be less than 20,000. And this must be people who are registered to vote. And also the IEC must be able to verify them individually. The reason we are saying the threshold must be higher for those wishing to contest is because if it is lower, we are going to have thousands of candidates for provincial and national elections that will be impossible to efficiently administer from an electoral point of view. Also, those who contest as individual independent candidates and get higher votes than it is required to get in Parliament must forfeit their remaining votes because they would have been given a clear and equal opportunity an option to contest as a political party. Lastly, we also strongly discourage by-elections to replace independent candidates who either die or resign from parliament or legislature. Because if such is permitted, the country will permanently be in elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Greetings to you, your committee, and people in the House. My name is Nongo Solo. I am representing today the youth of One South Africa. We want to emphasize that the country has been divided for so long, both by the electoral system and also by political parties, through the political party regalia and through party color. And so what this bill then will do, and why it's important to us as young people, because it simply seeks to unite the country irregardless of your political regalia or your political color. Because for example, if we all have to face load shedding at this instant, it will not even notice in which party you belong to. And so we need these non-political party independence. As young people, we are not just the future, but we are living today, and it's important that we shape our future. And it's important for us to emphasize today that we can't hide behind time. This electoral bill must be completely inclusive.
Sorry, I'm advised, just hold it. I'm advised that you were with us yesterday.
Yes, Chairperson.
And your inputs were already recorded in Jamestown. So she was with us in Jamestown, and her inputs are are recorded.
Kindly note, Chairperson, that yesterday I introduced myself as Nongo Solo, a co-founder and managing director of Abacha Force of Change. And today I'm wearing a cap representing One South Africa with different submissions.
Okay.
I guess I'm not lucky, I'm always interrupted.
No. They were correct because you were recorded yesterday.
Yeah, no,
And
but
it's important. Yeah, when somebody talks, you don't disrupt. You request. So I'm explaining what the team of researchers that are assisting us. That yesterday you were here and you were recorded, but now that you are clarifying your status, we are going to allow you to proceed. They just wanted to make that point to be clearer in our proceeding of records.
thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have needed to clarify myself if from the beginning they noted that I introduced myself as a representative from One South Africa. It's really destructive to be distracted also. But we are saying as young people, we are not just the future.
No, sister. We don't want to disrespect members when they speak. And I think we have tried to be patient with you. They said to the chairperson, yourself, you're with us yesterday, Jamestown. And that's a request for clarity from yourself. And your status, you have clarified it. But to say you are disrupting you and I can't recollect what you said. It's not in the spirit of our conversation as members in this meeting. We wanted to check your status because you were with us yesterday. And I said to you, now that you have clarified your status, you can proceed with the meeting. We're not disrupting you. And I think that is the spirit in which we're operating in this proceeding. We don't appreciate arrogance, by the way, because we're not here to be arrogant to yourself, because this is your meeting. When you ask a question, humbly respond to us, and then we proceed with the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. With full humility, today in this country, we are facing this electoral bill process because of arrogant leaders in political parties who failed to serve. And we must highlight that the issue of independence has been proven in 2021 that it was not just historical, because independent candidates did not just participate in 2021, but they performed very well. Out of their collective votes, they have managed to receive over 500,000 votes from voters in South Africa. And that places them on a 5th position nationally, making them the 5th leaders ahead of many opposition parties. What is this? We have 4 flaws from the executive bill that the parliament is proposing to us. And we are saying, as One South Africa, there is a people's bill that brings better alternatives to the flaws that the bill is highlighting. Firstly, the bill seeks to discard and disregard surplus votes from independent voters. And we are saying, in terms of section 19, 3A, that is unconstitutional. Because when it says everyone has a right to vote, it's not just the right to vote. It must be interpreted that the vote has a value. And to disregard someone's vote, you are taking away automatically their right. So we are saying in People's Bill, an independent candidate must be granted an opportunity to transfer their surplus votes to another candidate. When we are voting an independent candidate, you are directly voting for an independent. That independent is directly accountable to you. And so when I transfer my vote to another independent candidate, the voter still has an opportunity to see who that person is and to still make their own personal decision whether they still want to vote for me in full understanding that my surplus vote will be transferred to the next candidate. So direct voting is important. But the second flaw is that of the number of seats. That the 200 number of seats as opposed to 400 number of seats for political parties is also unconstitutional and also unfair to voters, which is limiting. But if you want to speak of a ballot paper that will be long because of a higher participation from independent voters, which we've already seen in local elections, that we had a high number of participation. But we are saying that the world, not just the country, is already moving to 4th and 5th industrial revolution. And IEC might already be ready to move to a digital space, but it is waiting for the government, for parliament, to pass a bill that will allow them to move to a digital space. In fact, we don't need to be even having ballot papers in a form of a paper. The third one is that of requirement. This bill before us wants independent candidates to come and contest with 2 requirements. One, they must reach a certain number of signatures, but 2, they must also pay a certain amount. We are saying, as much as we agree that they must have a certain number of signatures, we must also consider money as a discriminatory form. Because to actually want money from an independent candidate, we must now access at how much do you want them to access. A practical example in 2021, we had a lot of young people who could not contest at an independent level because they could not afford to actually pay the money. So we are saying Parliament should also review this and put other alternative means to ensure that they have legible independent candidates. Money is already an economic gap in our society as we speak, and it should not further discriminate between the rich and the poor. Lastly is the issue of the vacancies, which was also highlighted to be filled. But there are 2 forms that the People's Bill is proposing. It can either be done via by-elections, but it can also be done through a list that already exists for independent candidates. So if there's a vacancy for an independent candidate, someone else from the list can either fill in, because the country would have voted for those independent. Alternatively, we can go to by-elections, as we always have emphasized, that IEC must go to by-elections as per constitution. We want to urge Parliament to correct this constitutional defect, because should they not do that, again, it will prolong the process. As you all have already seen in 2021, we had less population of people voting. And actually, that is not democratic on its own. That means you have a party that is ruling over us that did not even get over 50% of vote of the total population. So the more you prolong these processes, the more you are making people not to vote, I think.
Thank you. Can we check further hands? We will be number 1, number 2. Yes, number 2. You can join this queue. Number 3. Yeah, number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Yeah, you have been recognized in that. Yeah. Can you check if there's any other person or party or NGO? Yeah, can you recognize in that? Yes. You can join the queue. Can you check if there's any other person or a party or NGO who want to contribute? Yeah, you can join the team. We're trying to check so that we work towards closing. If there's any other hands. Okay, I think this will be our last hands. I'm getting that sense that it will be our last hands. Okay. So we're agreeing that this is our last hands. You can start, Mr.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. I don't know if you can hear me. My name is Daniel Koka. I am from New Year's Trust Ward 14. It's the ward that I believe is most disrespected by the government. I would like to indicate that I believe that this is a public participation in terms of a new Electoral Act that has been going on about since 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And then with regard to that, the public was never informed timelessly about this meeting. To tell you the truth, I was told about this meeting today, 30 minutes before the transport came. If you look at me, I didn't even wash myself because I've been following this. I need to know what is going on. I also believe that people that are here do not even make 1% of people of Hammanskral. That's what I believe. They do not even make 1% of people of Hammanskral. Then you are telling us this is a public participation. This is not a public participation. I will need to put it clear. This is not public participation. These people are not Hammanskral people. If you've noticed, there's been EFF and EFF and EFF and EFF. What about all other parties that were not involved?
No, let's assist you, my brother. Your argument is flawed. And I'll tell you why.
Re lemogile gore polelo ya Mokgalabje o ka re ga e sepelelane le tše re di bolelago ka fa.
The Constitutional Court declared in 2020
Ka 2020 Kgorotsheko ya Molaotheo e hlathollotše gore
to correct this Electoral Act,
go phošolla bošaedi jo bo bonalago mo tabeng e.
not in 2017.
E seng ka 2017.
Secondly,
Sa bobedi,
EFF has a right to make submissions in any public hearing.
EFF ina le tokelo ya go ka tliša ditaba le dipolelo tša bona gohle mo ba dumeletšweng ka bolela gona.
Like any organization, ANC, DA, any organization.
Go swana le mekgatlo ye mengwe ka moka ya bo ANC le tše dingwe.
NGOs and yourself as an individual.
Le di NGO le wena bjale ka o le motho jwale ka wena.
So I want to assist you so that you don't, if in the meeting, let me give an example, if this meeting,
E re ke go thuše gore ge re le mo dikopanong
there's only EFF as you have accused it.
go bonala fela o ka re go na le EFF jwale ka go ba šupile ka monwana.
The committee here will proceed with the meeting.
Komiti e le mo go pele ga lena e tla tšwela pele ka kopano ye.
Or if there's ANC, there are many, or there's DA, or there's FF plus,
Ge e le gore go na le mokgatlo o mongwe o e o leng ka bontši.
or there's OSA. So
There
we
are
don't,
OSA.
we don't prescribe who must come to the meeting.
Ga re kgethele batho gore ba tle go tle batho ba fe kopanong.
So I want to assist you that
Ke rata go go thuša gore
if the argument,
ge e le gore ngangišano ya gago
you are pursuing it on that line,
o isipiše ka tsela ya mohuta o,
it may not assist yourself and us.
e ka se kgone go thuša wena go tee le rena.
The point you have raised that you got a message today, we'll deal with it when we finish the meeting.
Seo se boletšego re se amogetše re tla šomana le sona.
But I'm just wanted to assist community that
Ke
anyone has a right to be in the meeting. Even if it was yourself here without political parties, the committee are going to proceed with the meeting. Thank
mang
you.
le mang o dumeletše go ba mo kopanong gore re kgone go tšwela pele jwale ka setšhaba.
You can proceed.
Tšwela pele.
I think, Comrade Chair, you misquoted me there. All I was trying to raise here was this. You as the parliamentary people hasn't communicated this or hasn't made this public enough for members of the public to be here. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying EFF, I'm not saying this. I'm just trying to show you that this is, you didn't communicate this.
Hold, mister. From 10:30 until the meeting closes, I listen carefully to each and every person.
Go tlogela ka seripa ga iri ya lesome, mang le mang yo a bolelago ke mo fa tsebe.
Our people here, if we can bring out the record, what you spoke earlier.
Ge o ka tlisha theeletšo ya pego ya se wena o se boletšego,
You've made reference to the EFF.
o šupile EFF ka monwana.
And I'm trying to assist you to correct you.
Ke leka gore ke go eletše gore o se ke wa dira seo.
We're not fighting with you, we're assisting you so
Ga
that
re lwe monna gešo,
this meeting
re a eletšana.
is for everyone.
Kopano yo ke ya mang le mang.
So I've not misquoted you, I'm on you.
A se ka ke bolela se wena o se ngwala wa se bolela, ke bolela tšohle tše wena o di boletšego.
So we're giving you another opportunity
Ke go fa sebaka se sengwe sa gore o tšwele pele ka polelo ya gago.
All right, Chair, let's leave that alone and focus on the issue that we are here for. Currently, we were told late, we were not prepared for this. So I'll declare this as we are not given enough chance. As citizens of Hammanskral, that's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you.
The Constitutional Court was correct to come up with this decision. It's democratical decision. And it's the best decision ever that has ever happened in South Africa. As South Africans, for the past, since 1994, it's been up and down between political parties fighting amongst each other in the government, in the parliament, forgetting about the electoral, people that voted for them on the ground. When you guys fight against each other in the parliament, we are suffering at the ground. That is why we have experienced, since 1924, every now and then there's picketing and whatever about the service deliveries. Because there's never a day. The political party, sometimes they walk out of the meeting, say the council meeting. They walk out of the council meeting that discusses the issues of other communities. And then, knowing very well that who's going to hold them accountable. They are supposed to sit in that meeting, they are supposed to sit in that parliament to represent the community members. But they sit in the parliament to represent their political views. If they fight with DA, they then walk out of the meeting. This is the problem that we have as communities. We cannot have a situation where the government is going to be about leaders. You can't have that situation. The issue of independent candidate came in the right time, where now there's divisions between political parties. There's what we call this combined government. We need the government that will look after the people. And then we are saying, as community members, the IEC should first sort itself out when it comes to this independent candidate issue. I hear people complaining about the long ballot paper. I believe there should be a strategic way on how you're going to deal with the ballot paper in terms of the presidential elections, the presidential elections, the local elections, and everything. But this is a democracy. This is good for us as citizens of South Africa.
Yeah, you must work towards closing, my man.
Yeah, if you look at the government today, currently as we speak, you are spending too much money on what you call this inquiry. What inquiry? There's always inquiry. Hey, they stole money, where inquiry. Hey, they stole money, where inquiry. This is because of political parties and cadres deployment in in the legislature. Then we're having a problem as the citizens of South Africa. that you are looking much into issues of the leadership, less than you're looking into issues of the communities. We're requesting you, as a IEC today, go back, come up with regulations that will regulate this act, because it's new amendment. Come up with regulations that will regulate how this thing is going to be done when it comes to elections. So as we don't confuse people like we did confuse people on the last. If you realize on the last local election, the voters' roll has dropped big time, because we don't have to vote, because what we're voting for the political party to go and fight. This is an opportunity for us to stand up as citizens and say we are going to vote for an independent candidate, but fix how you're going to do it on the ballot paper. Don't put a small picture like this and say independent, so as we don't know who he is. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next.
My name is Franz Shadrach Macholi. I'd like to greet you, members of parliament and the community at large. And also to say I'm very happy to be a South African. There is
Sorry, that man want to speak. Yeah, just join. It'll be the last one. We're already closed because, yes. Your name again?
My name is Franz Shadrach Machuli. I am saying I'm very happy to be a South African. Why? Because, like for instance, now we are invited to come up with the inputs. And I'm on the Electoral Amendment Bill. I want to highlight something. The independent candidates, most of them, they were belonging to certain political parties, different political parties. After they've never make it where they wanted to, then they started to form independent parties in order to find themselves where they don't belong. Then we have the community members who are voting for a particular councillor of a certain political party. Then he emerged. Then we have what we call people who are not, for instance, aware that this is a democratic country, whereby if you are having the majority votes, therefore you are the one who is relevant to lead the community. The other thing that I want to highlight to this gathering is that if the independent, they are unable to have numbers in the wards, it will be very unfortunate to them to submit their names, especially in the National Assembly and even in the provincial legislature. The other thing that I want to highlight is, even the documents, because of now we have realized that people, they are able to do things that, for instance, they can favor them. You can submit any document that is fraudulent, because of we have realized that such things happened. And the other point that I want to make, I'm saying I'm of an objection to the bill. Why? Because of we are going to confuse the communities where we are living. You will find an independent candidate fighting against the person who has been elected in the ward, confusing residents of the particular area where they are living. The last thing that I want to give to the parliamentarians here is, it has been very clear, yes, that there is no way in which you can report to a person who is independent because of one, you are not going to mandate that particular person. And then if we want to come up with what you call development, we go to community members and ask community members, what is it that you want the council to do for you? Then a person who is elected as a council is going to write all the things, and we are going to sit there in the mayor's meeting, then they are going to submit all the things that the members of the community have raised. Then if you are having an independent candidate, if he's not going to make it after 5 years, after 5 years is a long time, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's nowhere to be found. And people have confidence to say no, the particular person is an independent. He have said no, 1, 2, 3 will happen to us. So let us not be confused. The candidates, those who are calling themselves independents, they are now getting a clear information to say we are not ready for the independent candidates for now. And then let them sit down and accept that yes, we tried, we failed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good day. My name is Trevor Muluisane from Hot 30, Harangua, Tshwane. I'm also an EFF member, so I don't know if maybe I must retaliate the submissions of my other fellow colleagues that came before me, or maybe the very same submissions that they gave to you, they also apply to me. So I don't know if maybe I must retaliate, or maybe just to say that I second all those EFF members who came and gave submissions in front of the parliamentary committee.
We don't prescribe, but you decide if your party has submitted and you agree with the submission, you can second, or you can decide to narrate the notes. So it will be up to you for that decision.
Okay, now let me re-narrate so that it must be stamped on. We as the EFF, we do not support the bill because as a country, we do not think that we are ready administratively for the bill, both from the IEC and Parliament, over and above other political challenges it will bring. This bill is not going to strengthen our democracy. Instead, it is just going to be used to infiltrate oversight and the legislative process by people who want to use money to control individuals that are not accountable to a collective but themselves. But since the Constitutional Court has put a position in independent candidates must contest national general elections on the following conditions. The threshold for the nomination of independent candidates must not be less than 20,000, and there must be people who are registered, those people must be people who are registered to vote, and the IEC must be able to verify them individually. The reasons we are saying this, the threshold must be higher for those wishing to contest is because of it is lower. It is lower, and we going to have thousands of candidates for provincial and national elections, and that will be impossible to effectively administer from an electoral point of view. The deposit that independent candidates must pay must be the same as the deposit paid by political parties, and it must not be refundable, as the inclusion of independent candidates will come with costs, and people who wish to stand should not be taking chances. Those who contest as individual candidates and get higher votes than it is required to get in parliament must forfeit the remaining votes because they would have been given a clear and equal opportunity and option to contest as a political party. We strongly discourage by-elections to replace independent candidates who either die or resign from parliament or legislature, because if such is permitted, the country will permanently be in elections. I thank you.
Next.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings are in order. My name is David Moyagabo Mashishi, originated from Northwest, Makaunyana, but now I'm settling in Gauteng, in this region, Tshwane, in Ward 49. And I'm presently speaking here on behalf of ANC. I'm the coordinator of elections in Hammanskral, the coordinator chair. Now, firstly, I just want to simply say I congratulate the team of the parliament to take this discussion to the public, and don't feel very small, don't be felt somehow attacked. We are not coming from one pot, unfortunately. And the organization that I've joined is the one that has actually came up with the constitution that we are using, and the current president, Matamela, is the one who was championing the writing of this constitution. And the democracy allows any person to come and talk whatever they want to talk. It is democracy. And some people will become more, or organization and whatever, become more, we become more, excited in the democracy that it has been championed by those organization that was led by ANC to run this, to write this constitution. We really appreciate, don't be angered or feel somehow when you are somehow attacked. You are all representing different political organizations. Chair, let me just, after my preamble, go directly to the representation of the ANC. We are talking one language as ANC. We are collective. I'm not going to waste a lot of time, because I hope one ANC member who spoke on behalf of the ANC has spoken exactly what I'm going to speak, because it's not a directive, it's a collective decision from the ANC, because we care about our communities in this country. Now, firstly, ANC support the PR system, and they understand why did they wanted the PR system to be there. Now, in simple terms, the ANC has always supported a proportional representation system, as it is best suitable to a country as diverse as ours in terms of race, class, and language. It ensures that every political viewpoint shared by more than 1/4% of the population is able to find the representation in the parliament and speaks on behalf of the constituents. I cannot unpack that, it's quite clear, Chair. We have never supported a first part, the post-constituency system, as it is very difficult to reach the same level of diverse representation when only one, or maybe a handful of people are selected to represent a distinct geographical area. Each geographical area has its own levels of diversity and diversion. So be it with even Hammanskral. Hence, we are part of that diversity chair. The PR system has meant that even small parties that get as little as 0.25% of the vote remain in the parliament and have a voice in every legislature. It is hard to imagine any other small party winning constituency seats when constituency, if there were 200 for a parliament, will have at least 100,000 voters. The PR system also allows better representative of women, youth, and other marginalization groups. That is the importance of a PR system, Chair. The ANC support option one of the Ministerial Advisory Committee as it is contained in the Amendment Bill. We broadly support it as the best option for implementing the Constitutional Court order. We do have some very serious concern about the practicality of some of the proposal currently. Contained in the bill, we urge the Home Affairs Committee to consider this challenge carefully as they may cause unintended consequences that can harm our democracy. Remember, Chairperson, we don't want to harm this democracy. But any person can come and speak the way they want it. But we must be able to focus to what we want to shape this country. This is our country. There's no other country we can go except this country. You can look at what is happening in Ukraine today. International politics, if we may get inside that. And some of the political parties, they behave like that. That's why the Russians, they act over this particular. But we cannot act against our people who are staying here.
You must work towards finishing.
Thanks, Chair.
You are working outside your time.
The last two things that I want to say. Problematic long ballot caused by too many independents and parties on one ballot, Chairperson. We are very concerned that the new system can result in a very long ballot paper that is impractical. For example, if we have 48 national parties as in 2019 and another 200 individuals who stand as independent, the ballot paper will need about 10 pages with 25 names per page. A multi-page ballot is a big problem for voters. The IEC and the parties, it will need a much longer time to vote, as voters must search for the name for their party of independence amongst many other names. A 10-page booklet for a ballot will mean the IEC need to have enough bigger budget for printing, distributing, and stuff.
Thank you.
Maybe let me just make a conclusion about that, Chair. We propose that new parties who are not yet represented in a legislature or parliament, an independent candidate, should be able to demonstrate that they have voter support and have some chance of winning a seat. We suggest that the threshold should be at least 1/3 of the quota need for one seat in the previous election. I so humble myself to you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Lebitso la ka ke nna Sinki Mokoena wa South African Communist Party
My name is Signid Mukwena of South African Communist Party.
From Tshwane Broad.
Ho tloha
From Tshwane Broad.
a ke utlwe hantle.
From Tshwane Broad. Tshwane is a home. Tshwane is a home.
Yes, o ka tswela pele ha o bua sekgowa.
Yes. We are Communist Party. We are contesting election, province and national. It's a whole. Just because the reasons is one. Since 1994, there is no transformation in South Africa. It's only corruption provincially, local, and local people. So we need state power now for national election 2024. We are not going to against the CR22, but we are against it for behaving by people make corruption provincially and local level. We are a Communist Party. We need people graduation from university and college to graduate to contest state power, machinery, confront economy in our society. There's a lot of billions in South Africa to release ministers of Dungani and MEC, different for them provincial. There is nothing to done practical on the ground for development. Looking infrastructure, it's a running water in South Africa broad. So we are sick and tired as Communist Party and COSATU and the YCL for meat mouse of yellow t-shirt. So now we are taking position very strong and clear. We are going to contest state power 2024, and you are not against CR17 2022.
Okay, let's hold it there. The issues that you are raising, I think are probably important for the organization you have introduced as you are representing. What we may advise you may be to hold that submission. The reason is that it may not assist the committee to process this amendment bill. I understand you are saying the Communist Party has issues to state power and any issues that you have raised, just to protect you and to protect the organization you have introduced. Your submission may not assist us, and we humbly request that if there's no any other issue related to the electoral bill, you give another person this opportunity to stand. But I think they may be important for your organization which you have introduced. But it may not be important for our noting and for the meeting we're dealing with.
Let us correct these issues. Maybe make a conference somebody else. We say as a Communist Party, we are going to one ticket, one Communist Party 2024. But we are not fighting for this government by CR17. We are going to balance of mixed generation. Or COSAT, the party to really come up 10 representative and party come up representative and YCL to make balance of forces. Or the crisis of the people on the ground. Don't cry for Matamela to attack. We balance the forces. That's why I say the party is coming one ticket, one ticket 2024.
We have noted your issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm not finished, I'm going to finish.
No, I agree. We use 5 minutes to submit or contribute. Now your 5 minutes, you're dealing with your political party issues that you have introduced. And there's no any other issue that we have taken as a note or guidance. So we request you to step off the mic. Yes, thank you. Next, I think you're the last one.
Thanks very much, Chair. Am I audible? Thanks, Chairperson, for the opportunity. Your colleagues, staff from the Oversight Committee that is overseeing this process. I'm Michael Ndlovu from the African National Congress. I think most of members of the ANC have made these submissions, but I just wanted to retaliate some of them to say the African National Congress supports the PR system as it is, but on the submission to the Parliament for amendment, what we're having a problem about is that when we allow independent candidates to contest as much as they can, we might have a crisis of ballots where they will cost the country a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of resources just to go with that process of ballots. So we're saying also it should be fair when you amend this thing as per the Constitutional Court to say independent candidate must contest in line or in the same terms as political parties. Because of we might find a situation where we're creating a stampede in this democratic process where everyone will want to become a politician. So we need to check at these issues and balance them correctly. Because of, in South Africa, we have issues of unemployment. There's a person who will see a need to get into parliament and get rich quick or get some salaries there in terms of benefits and go all over Hammanskral and make people to sign the petition and everything. Ask for funds to just register and become a person who contests elections. So sometimes this thing doesn't assist us. I think we need to be clear when we amend this thing so that we're able to exercise a practical democracy. So meaning you must also increase the threshold from 0.25 in terms of allowing people to participate in any legislative arm. To say, no, how are we managing this thing correctly? Maybe increase it to 3% from 0.25 to 3%, or increase the number of qualifying persons to become part of parliament or your legislature. Because of also we need to manage this process of registration carefully so. Because of this amendment, we're not against the Constitutional Court and everything, but we're saying, let us not allow where democracy won't work for our people. We can see it with these coalition governments that we're having across the country. The will of the people is not preached in the council meetings that we see. It's the will of individuals who got the 0.25 to participate inside council. When they are there, they represent the 0.25 of which they are not even representing. They are representing themselves. So meaning the issues of service delivered, the issues that are at heart, that must be done by government are not done because of the excitement that we're trying to do in reaching out to people to say, we're a democratic country, let's be democratic about these processes. But it ends up hampering the very same democracy that we want to build. So I'm saying we must amend them, amend it, but make sure that we are doing it within a correct context that will allow a democracy that will nourish and build a better life for our people in the country. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I think we've received all the submissions from the community here in Hammanskral.
Ke a leboha haholo, ke a tshepa hore re fumane ditshwaelo kaofela tsa batho ba mona Hammanskral.
We will then take the notes and deliberate when we close our public hearings throughout the country.
Re tla nka di-notes ha re phethela tshebetso ya naha kaofela.
We have allowed all citizens to participate here in Hammanskral.
Re dumelletse setjhaba kaofela ho nka karolo mona Hammanskral.
We want to thank members of parliament,
Re batla ho leboha ditho tsa palamente,
the staff of parliament,
basebeletsi ba palamente,
for assisting us to interface with our people.
ho re thusa ho ikamahanya le batho ba rona.
We've now solicited views as submitted.
Jwale re fumane ditshwaelo jwalo ka ha di ngotswe di nkuwe.
When the committee is going to deliberate, it's going to take notes of some of the issues that they've raised.
Komiti tla sekaseka ditshwaelo tseo ba re fileng tsona.
And we want to thank all of you who were here
Re batla ho le leboha lona kaofela ba teng mona
and those that have already gone.
le bao ba seng ba tsamaile.
Our meeting in Gauteng will end here in Hammanskral
Kopano tsa rona tsa Gauteng di fella mona
and
Hammanskral.
will tomorrow start with the interaction in the province of Northwest.
Hosane re tla qala ho ikamahanya le batho ba Northwest.
Thanks very much. Our public hearing is adjourned.
Ke a leboha haholo kopano ya rona e fedile.